I will create a world that knows true peace. The world is rotten, and those who are making it rot should disappear. I only want to create a world where the strong no longer prey on the weak. What if I told you that none of these words were spoken by heroes, but by villains? How does that make sense? As kids, we're taught that villains are wrong. They want to hurt people, destroy the world, or become powerful enough to conquer it. Villains are the ones the hero has to stop because the hero is good and the villain is evil. But the older we get, the more we realize that truth isn't always that simple. We can't help but be drawn to the villain, to understand them. And sometimes as we watch these stories unfold, we might even ask ourselves, what if the villain isn't trying to destroy the world, but fix it? What if the villain...
That's what I'm saying, bro. This is why I like villains more than heroes, bro.
The ones fighting for change because the heroes won't. What if their wrath isn't the problem, but a reaction to a world that keeps ignoring them? What if maybe,
France is getting involved?
Yeah, maybe, the villain was right?
Like, that's how you know, because my best characters are always... Like, my best character in Naruto is Itachi, and JDK is Sukuna.
Come, shot, bro. Oh,
even in my hero, Loki... My best character is All Might, but like, that's All Might. Everybody's best character in MHA is All Might. Moving on. But like, it's mostly villains I like.
Yeah, like.
I convinced Kodak to match with him.
Anime and manga has some amazing examples of this, but the one I'd like to start with is Naruto. A world built on graves. A world where people are raised to fight from the moment they're born and to die for villages they barely understand. A world where great nations don't fight their wars on their own turf, but in small neighboring countries that they turn into war zones. And when the fighting's done, they leave. They go home, declare victory, and move on with their lives. But the people in those small nations, they have to suffer the consequences. Nagato is a character shaped by this world. He's an orphan from the Hidden Rain Village, a small nation stuck between the great ninja powers. As a kid, he watches people break into his home and slay his parents who weren't even fighters. Nagato gets left to starve in a nation that nobody cares about until he meets Yahiko and Koga. And together, they survive. They dream of peace. They train under Jiraiya, who teaches them that understanding between people could break this cycle of hatred. Together, they form an order.
Jiraiya looking goated. Jiraiya taught everybody, bro. He damn near taught everybody. Naruto, Nagato, Yahiko, Conan, like, damn, that boy a mentor.
Lions that fought for peace, the Akatsuki. But then, as is always the case, the great nation schemed to get rid of them, and Nagato was forced to watch his best friend die, forced to kill him with his own hand.
I mean, our Pro Club team, the PS4 version with Rami and them.
And that's when he understood. The ninja world is stuck in a cycle of hatred. Each nation builds up military power to protect itself from other nations. But that military buildup makes other nations feel threatened. So they build up their own forces in response. And it just goes round and round, again and again. Nagato turns into pain. His solution is to collect all the tailed beasts, 9 massive monsters, and create a weapon with insane destructive power. Then, use that weapon to vaporize a major nation. He wants to show the world what true pain feels like. He's gonna make the suffering so massive, so overwhelming, so undeniable that every nation on Earth will be too terrified to even start a war again. At his core, Pain wants peace and safety, not just for himself, but for everyone. Every time he tried to believe in peace, to follow the teachings of his master, the world punished him for it. Jiraiya's dream of peace through mutual understanding is beautiful, but it's failed over and over. When Pain invades the village, he asks Naruto how he would confront this hatred. What would he do differently? How is this fair? And Naruto struggles to come up with an answer because Pain is right. Naruto admits he doesn't have the answers, and he almost gives in to the hatred himself. Honestly, I chose Pain for the video, but Naruto as a series is such a good example of this. A lot of the enemies in the show aren't just villains. They're reflections.
Like, Naruto is one of the only animes that you watch and you're like, I genuinely see why
Relax, come back.
the villain chose this path.
I
Like,
mean, they just found the one to use.
and it's not only one character, it's every single villain everybody that they picture as a villain in this show, you see a reason why they chose that path. They like, but like, there's some shows like JDK now. So why is Sukuna evil? Because he's bored. Like, bro.
I need to watch the last.
Like, bro, like, it's what I'm saying. Like, there's no depth to their characters. Like, there's no reason for why they chose this lifestyle. And in Naruto, those characters, to them, they're not doing the wrong thing. They're just doing what's right to them. Like, bro, Naruto is just a beautiful anime.
Wanted what Naruto wanted, a world without pain. But somewhere along the way, they made one different choice. And that choice turned them into monsters. They chose to act on the truth in a way that turned them into a villain. There are also times when a character refuses to listen to the heroes whatsoever. Stain is known as the hero killer. He exists in the world of My Hero Academia, a society where superpowers called quirks are common. In this world, heroes aren't just people who save others. They're celebrities. They have rankings, merch, fan clubs, and sponsors. Being a pro hero is a career. And once upon a time, Stain wanted to become one of those heroes. He was inspired by them and what they represented. But with time, he saw the profession change. He watched heroes start caring more about their rankings than about saving people. He saw them refuse to help because there were no cameras around, prioritize flashy rescues over effective ones because it looked better on TV, and compete with each other for money instead of working together to protect people. He watched heroes he looked up to turn out to be frauds. Heroes who weren't rewarded for being selfless, but for being popular. Heroes who were in it for the wrong reasons. Stain actually believed that heroes should be worthy of the title, that the word hero should mean something, that people who save others should do it because it's the right thing to do, not because it makes money. And he decides that if the system wouldn't clean itself up, he would do it. He judges each hero, and if they fail his test, they die. When he faces one of the characters who's there for revenge, Stain nearly slays him. But when he faces Izuku Midoriya, who came purely to save others, Stain spares him. He declares Midoriya worthy to live as a true hero because he showed an innate sense of doing what's right without ever thinking about personal gain. The story doesn't pretend that Stain's critique is wrong. In fact, it shows us that what he pointed out is real. After he gets captured, his ideology spreads. Civilians start questioning the hero system. Some heroes start questioning themselves. There are discussions about what it actually means to be a hero, about whether the system has gotten too focused on celebrity rather than doing what it was supposed to do: help people in need.
You took too long.
On the other hand, there are also cases when the villain changes throughout the story. In the world of Hunter x Hunter, Chimera ants are a species that can eat other creatures and inherit their traits. And Meruem is the Chimera ant king. He's born at the absolute top of the food chain, a being with such overwhelming power that he has no natural enemies. He's stronger, faster, and smarter than any human. And it shows in how he sees them. For him, humans are nothing more than inferior creatures that are there to be ruled or eaten, just like how humans usually see their own cattle. When Meruem is still a newborn, he gets the opportunity to observe humans for the first time, and he sees evil. He sees them claiming to be superior while simultaneously being cruel. He sees them use weapons, political systems, laws, not to create peace, but wars. But the interesting thing is that Hunter x Hunter doesn't argue against his logic. The series shows us brutal fights, humans who experiment on other humans, nations that wage war for resources and power. The series shows us that humans are capable of terrible evil, and that they often justify that evil as necessary. Meruem's initial plan is where he acts like a true villain. He wants to basically wipe out humans he thinks are worthless, which leads to some truly messed up stuff. But the more Meruem grows, the more he asks himself, what does it mean to be king? Sure, he was born to rule, but what does that actually mean? Is it just about power, about domination, or is there something more? At first, his answer was simple: the strong rule. This is how it should work. After all, that's how humans have always done it. But then, he changes. And that change comes from an unexpected source: a blind girl who beats him in a board game. This is the only opponent he can't surpass.
I had
and it completely
Abasha go
because
some
if strength and
Gombe.
power are
Damn.
all that matter, how can this weak, small human have something he doesn't? How can she beat him? Through their games, through their interactions, Meruem starts to realize there are different forms of strength. Fortunately, he's also cut short. The Tero, the chairman of the Hunter Association and one of humanity's greatest warriors, straight up warns him. Before unleashing his final attack, he says, "You have no idea, do you? You know nothing of the bottomless malice within the human heart." He's not saying humans are good. He's saying humans are dangerous. And he proves it by detonating a weapon of destruction inside his own body, poisoning Meruem with radiation that will kill him slowly and painfully.
Let's finish on
There's this moment which I think is one of the most powerful scenes in the entire series, where Meruem thinks back on his journey to the palace. He remembers the terrible things he did along the way. The once arrogant king realizes he understood nothing about the value of life, that by reducing everything to just raw power, he's been destroying potential he couldn't even see. That there are forms of worth, forms of strength, forms of value that have nothing to do with physical dominance. He might have been right, but he didn't see that there was value beyond. Meruem's tragedy is that he learns all of that just in time to die. What he lost, or rather, what he never had, was understanding that the weak can have something the strong cannot. And he spends his final moments not raging against humanity, but asking for one thing: to spend his last moments playing with Kumbi.
That's a rush one there.
At the beginning of the first Pokemon movie, Mewtwo is created in a laboratory. He doesn't understand what he is or why he exists. His mind connects with other artificial creations,
What do you know about Mewtwo, buddy?
including a young girl. She is the daughter of the lead scientist and exists as a memory. In this, dreamlike world, the girl treats Mewtwo gently. She explains simple ideas, what it means to be alive, what it means to have a purpose, and what it means to care about others. She becomes Mewtwo's first experience of kindness. The problem is, the clones are unstable. One by one, they begin to fade away. The girl reassures Mewtwo that even if their time is short, being alive, even briefly, it matters. Eventually she disappears, and he discovers the pain of losing someone as tears trickle down his face for the first time. This movie is supposed to be for little kids, by the way. After waking up from his dream,
Is the board game from Hunter x Hunter? I think so. I don't know.
he is surrounded by scientists.
Mo,
They celebrate, not because they created a living creature, but because they managed to build the most powerful weapon imaginable. Mewtwo's first thought after gaining consciousness is basically, okay, who am I and why do I exist? And the scientists are like, oh yeah, that's easy. You're a weapon and you exist to do whatever we tell you to do. And Mewtwo immediately responds by blowing up the entire lab. Someone else finds him, but unfortunately, it is once again a person who only sees him
I know you
as a
were
weapon.
wondering,
For those of you who don't know the world of Pokemon, you've got humans running around throwing balls at wild animals and making them fight. Kind of like what they've been trying to do to Mewtwo since the second he was born, basically. Mewtwo looks at all of that and goes, yeah. No, he sets up this whole plan where he invites a bunch of Pokemon trainers, including Ash, the protagonist of the entire series. They arrive to an island thinking those are going to be some fun fights, but the second they show up, Mewtwo just wipes the floor with them and steals their Pokemon. His idea is basically to create clones of every single Pokemon there and prove that they are better than the originals. From the beginning, nobody asked Mewtwo if he wanted to exist. He got dragged into life for someone else's plan. He wants to prove that he's better than the world that created him. Mewtwo tries to point out that the entire Pokemon franchise is built on a foundation that's kind of messed up when you actually think about it. The whole world runs on humans having complete dominance over these creatures. I mean, Pokemon battles are literally just making animals beat the heck out of each other. And not only is this considered
What's this video about? When you realize the villains have a point.
normal, it's treated like a good thing. And sure, 100%, Pokemon often choose to follow trainers because they genuinely like them. That doesn't change the fact that the entire structure is built on humans having complete control over Pokemon. I mean, yeah, nobody questions this because it's a kid's show, but I think it's really interesting that they made a villain who comes in with fresh eyes because he was literally just born and kind of makes you re-examine the entire premise of the series. Eventually, it comes down to Mew and Mewtwo, the original and the copy. But then, Ash Ketchum, this 10-year-old kid with 0 powers and 0 brain cells, just launches himself between 2 literal gods to stop them. And he immediately gets turned into stone. Everything stops. Every single Pokemon, the originals, the clones, all of them, just freeze and stare at Ash's body. And then they start crying, all of them, crying together, the same way Mewtwo cried when it first woke up and lost the only friend it ever had. And their tears bring Ash back to life. In that moment, Mewtwo's entire
That's what they say.
What is Pokemon even about, bro? Like, bro, what do you mean you brought him back to life? Yeah.
worldview changes. He sees his mistakes and understands that it isn't the way you are born that determines who you are, but what you choose to do with your life. What Mewtwo never got, what it was denied from the very beginning, was the chance to experience real connection, until suddenly it had undeniable proof that genuine love between Pokemon and humans can exist. That humans aren't all selfish. And yet, when the movie ends, Mewtwo's question still remains. Is this really love
stayed 10
when
years
one
for the whole show?
side
What do you mean?
has power?
Like, he never aged?
One of my absolute favorite movie villains out there is Tailwind from Kung Fu Panda. And when I think about anime, there's an antagonist who actually shares a lot of strong parallels with him. Dabi is a character in My Hero Academia.
Dabi is one
He's
of
also a
my
member of
favorite
the League of
characters,
Villains, an organization dedicated to destroying hero society.
Yeah, Dabi is my best character in MH. Not even All Might. Yes.
Powerful, ruthless, and seems
He never
motivated
passed
by
the age of
pure
10.
destruction. His fire quirk burns blue
Yeah,
hotter
Christ.
than normal
27
fire, and
plus
uses it
seasons
without
and
hesitation to
actions the same
kill
age.
heroes. But Dabi also has a secret. His name is Toya Todoroki, the eldest son of Enji Todoroki, the #1 hero, also known as Endeavor. When he was younger, his father was obsessed with beating his rival, All Might. When he realized he couldn't do it himself, he decided to create a kid who could. He entered into a marriage with Rei Todoroki, specifically to have kids with the right combination of his fire and her ice powers. Toya was the first attempt. He had powerful flames, even stronger than his dad's. His body just couldn't handle them, and this made him a failure in Endeavor's eyes. So he abandoned him, told him to give up on training, told
Abandoned him as well.
he'd never be a hero.
Wait, I think my head's disconnected. It's... But I was watching MHA like back in the days before it became mainstream, and I randomly stopped watching it. Why would you just randomly stop watching MHA? Okay, me too. I can't I randomly stopped watching it. So why am I even judging you for randomly stopping to watch it? It's like it's just one of those animes that it's just there for me. I've never seen that MHA hype. I'm not gonna lie. To this day, I've never seen it. No once. I'm trying to connect this. I can't. It's not connecting.
Check the GC, you see the thingy. I haven't seen it on golf, to be fair.
Why is it not connected? I don't know, bro. It wasn't asked, but yeah, exactly. It just like MHA for me too is like that, bro. It just isn't it for some reason. For some reason it's just there, like nothing crazy. Like, it's trying to check something. Why is it not working?
Tel Aviv that's getting bombed. We're talking about Tel Aviv.
Oh my god, so that's how you paid him? Ooh, that was tough. I didn't even know. Damn. Shit is
Where's
tough.
Amino?
Alright, we back now. My first ever anime was Blue Exorcist. It's dead off?
Pushed him aside for his other son. But Toya was a kid who'd been raised with one purpose: to beat All Might. That was his entire identity, his entire reason for existing. And when that got taken away, when he was told he was worthless, he didn't know how to stop. So he kept training, desperately, obsessively, trying to prove he was still valuable, trying to get his father's attention back. But then he lost control and his flames consumed him. Everyone believed he had died, except he didn't. He survived, horribly burned and broken, spending years planning his revenge, not just against his father, but against the entire hero society that put his father in the position he was. For years, the public celebrated Endeavor's rise. They cheered when he became the top hero after All Might retired. They bought his merchandise.
You know, I never knew what the term anime was
Again on the YouTube.
when I was watching Naruto for the first time. Because when I was watching Naruto, I think I was like 13. I didn't know it was called anime.
Huh?
I just knew it wasn't like regular cartoons. You get what I mean?
If I was streaming,
But I was like, this is tough.
if I was streaming,
So
yeah.
I just kept watching it.
Raised his strength and determination, but nobody asked about his family. Nobody questioned why his wife was in a hospital. Nobody wondered about the burn on his son's face. Nobody looked behind the hero to see the actual man. Toya became Dabi. He decided that if the world wouldn't acknowledge his suffering, he'd make them acknowledge it. Dabi's fall, ending up incapacitated and near death after pushing his body way past its limits, isn't shown as some triumph, but as a huge tragedy for the Todoroki family. The story treats it as a failure of his family, of hero society, and of a system that let it happen. But unlike Dabi, there are some series that show you the entire journey, how someone normal turned
Eren?
into a villain.
Eren's own is very, very justified. Like, most of the villains in anime, their backstories are justifiable, except like the new gens. I'm not gonna lie. New gens nowadays, they don't really be having much backstory to like their mindsets. Like let's look at things like Demon Slayer. Muzan is just Muzan.
That's the SN.
Like, if you look at like JTK, Sukuna is just bored. Like, bro, like none of them really have backstories like this no more. Itachi is exactly like every villain in Naruto. Naruto is the only anime that I know that every single person has a justified story to like their own mindset and
So
vision.
you want me to see
If you take someone like in Naruto, if you take someone like Rock Lee now, you know Rock Lee is grinding because he was born without genjutsu. He was born without ninjutsu. So now he has taijutsu and he's grinding to be the best at taijutsu.
Or deep line.
Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, everybody has like a story that he can cling on to, or like something that will keep them driving, like going. Itachi's one was very justified, bro. Like, yeah, Naruto is the greatest anime of all time. Yeah,
That's not fair enough.
Attack on Titan takes place in
Did
this
you watch
world
Monster?
where humanity
I
is
haven't watched
trapped
it.
behind massive walls. And outside of these walls, there are giant titans who want to eat all of the humans. For most of his life, Eren thinks that the world is pretty simple. The walls are bad and freedom is somewhere out there. But
You know
then
Rock Lee's not a
the
villain,
story
but
completely
I was just
twists
using them random
everything.
examples.
Turns out the people living inside
gotta
the
watch
walls are
Monster.
called
I
Eldians.
watched
And they are basically the most hated people in history. The rest of the world, led by this nation called Marley, wants them all dead because Eldians have the ability to turn into titans. And that is why they are stuck within these walls. Throughout the story, Eren discovers that the entire world has collectively decided his people need to be destroyed, and every single attempt at a peaceful resolution has crashed spectacularly. He discovers that this cycle of hatred is baked into the system. The world's fear of Eldians isn't just something that can be fixed with a conversation. This is pure hatred. The uncomfortable reality that the heroes and everyone else keep trying
to... I feel like Naruto has good points for why villains are how they are. AOT is the anime that best describes or best shows the reason why people become villains. Like, bro, because Eren was just a regular guy. All of a sudden, he started seeing how the world was treating him. Like, they depicted like how a villain should be perfectly. I won't lie.
Ignore is that there is no peaceful way out of this. Every single attempt at understanding, compromise gets met with more fight. Eren even watched a Titan eat his mother right in front of him when he was just a kid. He watched his friends die. His people were trapped inside a wall their entire lives. From episode 1, the thing that defines Eren more than anything else is freedom. All he wants is to see the world, make his own choices, and not be stuck in a cage. Eren starts off as a pretty classic protagonist, fighting to save humanity. But the more he learns about the truth, the more he transforms into something else. He becomes the leader of Paradis military, and eventually he becomes the mastermind behind a horrifying plan, the Rumbling. Eren unleashes literally hundreds of thousands of colossal titans and sends them marching across the entire world to stomp everything. What Eren never got, what the world never gave him, was proof that he was wrong. Every possible path he could see led to the same destination, destruction. Here's the most tragic part of all. Eren becomes exactly what he spent his entire life fighting against. He wanted to save humanity from the Titans, and he became humanity's biggest monster.
But the thing about Fullmetal Alchemist is that there's another one that is called Brotherhood, right? Do I have to watch the first one before I watch Brotherhood? Are they like connected?
He wanted to break the cycle of hatred, and instead he perpetuated it on a scale that makes every previous atrocity look like nothing. He is simultaneously the savior of his own people and the literal apocalypse for everyone else. But when Eren finally gets stopped and Attack on Titan ends, we get a montage. It doesn't show how peaceful the world became after those events. It shows the cycle of hate just continuing over and over and over.
Say that again. You know there's Full Metal Alchemist and there's Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Are they like connected? Do I need to watch one before I watch the other, or like I can just watch any one?
Over. In the world of Jujutsu Kaisen, cursed spirits are monsters born from human.
There's no villain in Jujutsu Kaisen that has a point. I'm not gonna lie, no villain in Jujutsu Kaisen has a point. But let's see though.
Negative emotion. And Jujutsu sorcerers are a tiny group of people with the ability to see curses and get rid of them. And Geto is one of these sorcerers.
Okay, no, Geto. Okay, yeah, kind of like Geto was the only one. Geto was the only one. Yes, he was. His own was very justified. I'm not gonna lie. If Gojo became a villain, it would have been very justified. But yeah, that's all. But like, okay, first though, yeah, he's the only one.
One day, he and his best friend are assigned to protect a girl called Riko Amanai, a girl chosen to sacrifice herself in order to maintain balance in the world. But over time, what begins as a mission turns into something much darker. They start to see her not just as a vessel, but as a normal girl who laughs, argues, and actually wants to live her life. At the last possible moment, Riko Amanai makes a choice. Instead of accepting her fate, she decides she wants to keep living, to stay with Geto, and then
Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood are two different universes. Okay.
And without warning,
That was yesterday.
she's shot by a man hired by a group of humans who didn't want her ritual to be complete. Geto even sees these people celebrating. After that, he goes on more missions, sees his comrades perish, gets separated from his best friend, all that to protect people who ultimately don't care about him. He gets sent to rescue 2 young sorcerer kids from a village, only to find the villagers hurting them for powers they never asked for. The flaw Gato exposes is that sorcerers are expected to die for people that not only create the problem, but also fear and resent the people protecting them. The world never addresses the root, ordinary human negativity. The system is unfair. Gato starts to question what he should do, where his life is going, how he can get rid of curses for good, until he talks with Yuki Tsukomo, another sorcerer. She presents 2 solutions to the problem. Number 1, teach all humans to control cursed energy so curses stop appearing. Number 2, eliminate all humans so that the source of curses disappears. And that's when everything spirals. For Gato, who's already emotionally unstable and resentful, the second idea takes hold. He decides that the only way to end the curse cycle is to wipe out all non-sorcerers. He becomes the leader of a movement to annihilate them, orchestrating an attack designed to kill as many non-sorcerers as possible and declare war on the Jujutsu world. Gato starts out as a compassionate man, genuinely wanting to help people out, but
I kind of Gato is not crazy. I see his point. I'm not gonna lie. I see his point. I've watched the episodes just for JJK now.
repeated betrayal.
JJK is not ending anytime soon. Even this season, it's probably ending in like the next, let me say, 4 to 5 weeks. But JJK is probably ending when you guys have your first child, bro.
Betrayals by society, by the people he saves, by the system that breaks him. Gato's best friend is the one who ends up stopping him. The final confrontation is full of regret and sadness. Gojo understands how Gato ended up here, and he wishes he could have saved him, but he just cannot let him go down this path. Gato is shown as a fallen hero. He's this tragic mirror to the heroes. He saw the same problem they saw, went through the same stuff, but came to a different conclusion. And that conclusion led him down a path where he became the very thing he used to fight against.
Damn.